Chapter 4. November. Sean Chastanet. She was transferred to intensive care last night, and she died this morning. The doctors did all they could. They said her chances of survival were very slim. When did I get here? Already well in November, yet I feel as though the cocktail party happened just yesterday. And Yves Maltais unveiled a statue of the Sphinx that looked exactly like the one I saw in my dream. It was as though I was struck by lightning. There in front of me was the confirmation of an intuition that's clung to me since I've arrived at the village. The feeling that there was something, somewhere, that would give meaning to all this. Something that I grasped at, but which slipped between my fingers into a trickle of water. Unfortunately, I was quickly caught up in everyday life. Time is already coming to an end, buried beneath piles of papers to wait. Frank went back to the city 3 days ago. He has to supervise some works there. Told me to be away until the end of the month at least. Glad he came and told me. To the cocktail party. Stan. I was afraid he'd be mad at me. He had decency not to bring it up. Long absence though. Perhaps thinking of leaving the village for good? Then Stan tried to call me. Further, my voicemail has been completely deluged with his messages. He begged me to pick up the phone. We had to talk. Didn't dare answer. Don't know what will happen if I give him a chance. Miss Delatour? Are you alright? You look upset. What happened exactly? How did you get in the accident? Here's what her sister told me. Beatrice Lavique took the cliff road to pick up her son Jean-Baptiste after his soccer game. The guy seems to have skidded on a path of ice. Bravo. I think of her son. Yes, this class teacher, I count on you to be watchful. Jean-Baptiste is going to need our support to get through this. Also, sorry to talk about this in the circumstances, but I didn't want to see you anyway. I know you're only here for 6 months, and you're probably doing the best you can. How can I put it? Your methods leave something to be desired. I don't think you're really cut out for teaching. I don't know what to say. In that case, don't say anything, but do something about it. I need to rectify the situation. Very well. Well, you know what I want to discuss, but I may ask you something a little personal? Of course. I'm listening. Stop me if I'm wrong, but how can I put this? I was talking in this village. I knew you had words with Miss Lavique at the cocktail party. Did you, by any chance? I don't know quite how to put it. Well, let me just come straight out of it. Did you by chance? And reiterate by chance. Any responsibility for Mrs. Levique's accident? Absolutely not. Don't tell me you're giving me credit to the gossip. I'm a scientist, and I absolutely don't agree with these primitive beliefs. Be serious for a minute, shall we? What do you think? Did I have a voodoo doll of Mrs. Levique to stick with needles in my attic at full moon? I'm very sorry what happened to the poor woman. There's nothing mysterious about the accident. It's a physical phenomenon. It happens every winter. It changes liquid water into ice. Solid which has the unfortunate property of making cars skid. Now if you don't mind, my day's not finished yet, so if you excuse me. Sorry if I upset you, Miss Delatour. It wasn't my intent. Was it not? Was it not asking something that stupid? Was it not to upset me? Because then you're retarded, then you're a stupid asshole, then you are literally not made out to be the fucking principal of this fucking school if you don't think that would have upset anybody, you fucking delinquent. Mr. Chastanet. Today has been emotional enough. When I get to the castle, I discover a sports car parked in front of the house. Of course, I've already guessed the identifier. What? I've already guessed the identity of its owner. Walking in the hall, I find Stanislaus has let himself in and is sipping a glass of whiskey. He pursues the family portraits. My heart beats a little hard on seeing him here in my living room. I feel a bit foolish and try to get myself together before I speak. I would have offered you a drink, but it looks like you've already taken the matter into your own hands. I would have offered you. Whatever. I'm getting worked up. For myself, I could mash off the spirit and light up a cigarette. It was open, so I let myself in. And I'm not sorry since you've kept me on the tenterhooks for some time. I'm already on my second refill. I thought school teachers finished work much earlier, don't they? I was held up. Daphne, we need to talk. I'm listening. Looking at the state of my voicemail, I guess you'd come over sooner or later. I'm listening. All that's happened, I had to warn you. You need to know about our families, the village, and everything else. Sitting on the sofa, ignoring the armchair on the other side of the coffee table. Stanislaus sits down beside me. We blame the alcohol for his behavior at the cocktail party. I can continue to ignore the straw signals he's sending my way. Then takes a deep breath and begins. Of course, there's my father, his project in the old ground with the Delateurs, and his sick obsession with the tower. But when I heard about Beatrice Lavique, that's when I realized the situation was urgent. When I watched you do what you did at the cocktail party, I remembered everything I'd heard since I was a child, all those unbelievable stories of witchcraft. Never had any real proof that any of it was true. When I heard she was dead, well, it's been haunting me all day, I had to tell you. I have to know, so I'm just going to lay it in line. Did you know what you were doing back there? Know what I was doing? I don't know what to think. Since I came here, I felt things. In the strange dreams, the castle and everything I thought about my family, yes, I wanted to believe. Now if the stories are true, then that makes me a murderer. Come on. On the other hand, when Miss Lavique attacked me at the cocktail party, I saw what. I wanted her to pay. I wanted her to suffer. But if I guessed for 1 second she'd end up dead. Overwhelmed by emotion, I realized I've been holding my tears back since the director broke the news to me. Burst into tears and Stan takes me in his arms. I let him, torn by conflicted emotions. I think of Frank. She should be the one comforting me. I don't know why, but I feel like I can trust Stan. And I'm afraid almost that perhaps he understands me better than Frank ever did. What are you talking about? Frank has done everything for us. Everything! Don't trust this man. He's an asshole. And an alcoholic. And it's coming from me. The Sunny Wolf is also an alcoholic. Don't trust this man. A few minutes later, tremulously blink away the last tears. And is sure most of the storm is behind us. Dan gently lets go of me, looking me straight in the eye while holding me by his shoulders, says, "Please forgive me. I've been terribly inconsiderate. Of course you couldn't have known what would happen. Keep forgetting you're not from here. And besides, no one told you what's happening in the village. So please, I beg you don't feel guilty. It's us, the Malteros, and us around here should feel guilty for not warning you." Something else to tell me? I'm afraid I do. My father made you an offer at the cocktail party, didn't he? Well, yes, but the tower, right? He wants to gain access to it if I understood correctly. Exactly. He hasn't come to see you yet, because he's building his case for the town council. Got Celine on it, and he's got her working day in and day out. What's Celine? He wants everything settled before he tells you his plans. What can he really do to me? The house is legally mine. He can throw me out just like that for no reason. Maybe, but I assure you it's no joke. Whatever happens, you mustn't accept it. Hell, I won't. Why do you want me to refuse so much? I know Eves, like it or not. I've been dealing with him since I was born. Nom nom nom. He's a shark. Considering how much he resents the Delateurs, I can assure you that whatever he proposes, he will serve his own interests. But more temporarily, more importantly, he will harm yours. What has he got against the Delateurs? What did my family do to generate so much hate? It was very far back, our great-grandparents or even further, I don't know for sure. Said that the Delateurs have always been a very influential family in the area. Fuck, I cannot talk anymore in the area. Your family has kept to their traditions despite the law and the name of Delatour of the Tower, goes from mother to daughter, and the eldest daughter has always been the spiritual guide of the community. A kind of Celtic grand priestess, if you see what I mean. Since, well, Christianity never really got very popular around here, as you probably noticed. So it goes that your ancestor, the Grand Priestess, had a dispute with my ancestor. My family had no choice but to curse yours to save their honor. Since that time, the Maltaires have accumulated wealth and prospered while the Delateurs have declined. Fair enough, but all that happened a long time ago. To keep such an old quarrel alive. Not only did they nothing to harm your family, but it looks like to me the Maltaires already have the upper hand, don't they? That's where the tower comes in. As I understand it, these blessings have a price, and my father wants to get into it to lift the curse. It takes its toll on my family too. The tower's the key to lifting the curse. I can't get get inside because he wants me to harm me? Exactly. It may sound stupid, but I have to ask. Do you know where the entrance to the tower is? No, but everyone in the village knows that it was condemned of the events that tore both our family apart. Why didn't anyone tell me? Don't judge the villagers too harshly. They're naturally suspicious, especially when it comes to us. Should I brace myself for more revelations, or is that it? Guess I've told you most of it. The core of the matter, anyway. But you must have half-thousand questions. Is that where I can just save? Yes. Well, that was my part of this game. I'll see you guys all in the next game. Until then, have a great one, and for the stream, we don't know what to do yet. Everybody, welcome back to Long the Edge. If you like, why does he say this in the middle of the video? It's because last time we left off in the middle of a chapter, and I'm gonna finish this chapter now, and then I can edit the last video that I have open. And then I can go to other videos. Alright. I guess I've told you most of it, the crux of the matter anyway. Well, we must have 5,000 questions. Tell me more about your father's plans. As I told you, he wants to get inside the tower, and I'm afraid he'll stop at nothing to do it. I know him, he'll certainly try to win you over at first. He's currently building a case for the town council to open the tower to the public in return that would pay all the maintenance costs. Could be worth listening to his offer, don't you think? Just to keep the castle afloat can't be sneezed at, and the money I get in the will isn't exhaustible. I don't know how else to say it. I don't really have any proof except my own experience, and the trust you may put in my word. And I assure you to accept anything from my father would be a very bad idea. During my grandmother's time, he was resigned to not getting into the tower, but now things have changed, and he wants to take advantage of the opportunity. I'm sure he'll come up with a very attractive financial deal and is counting on his supposed naivete to get what he's after. Alright, let's refuse. What happens next? And that depends. Depends on what? Depends on whether or not you believe in all this witchcraft stuff. It always comes back to that, doesn't it? Perhaps, but it is a very doable concept for the most people who live here. And whatever your feelings about it, Eves is still a very real threat. You're not the first person to oppose him. You've got a few cards up your sleeve that might take you to last. Tell me more about your family. Your family? Curious. Can you tell me more about them? I think you already grabbed the nut and bolts. First is my parents, Eves and Clotilde. Our relationship's been distant since we've been old enough to understand how they think. What do you mean? How can I sum up the Maltaire method? I would say manipulation and extortion under the cover of good breeding, and if that doesn't work, then they throw money in the general direction of the problem until it's kind enough to disappear. Charming. I'm asking myself, why would they stay in the village? I mean, so much wealth, they could live anywhere, couldn't they? You mean somewhere less remote? Not wrong, but don't forget they're very attached to the area with their beliefs. They're much too afraid of losing their advantages if they leave, I guess. And everything I tell you is only speculation. Eves had decided I wasn't fit to be the #1 heir long before I was old enough for him to tell me any of the little secrets. And you? Haven't you ever thought about leaving? Of course I have, but Celine and her son are stuck here, and I couldn't bring myself to leave them alone in the belly of the beast. Sure, that makes sense. Besides, I strongly suspect my father is to some degree responsible for the death of Celine's husband. Ooh. A good accidental death just the way he likes, whether it's supernatural or not. Ooh, this is some hot cooking shit. After all, seeing as his own son wasn't up to the task, he needed an heir to pass his fine values on to, right? But it's awful. Welcome to my world. Of course I'm doing my best to protect Pierre from all this, but I'm afraid I'm fighting a losing battle. He does his grandfather, of course, and with good reason. He can be a very charming guy when he wants to be. Pauline? She's always been kept out of it. She's always been the perfect daughter, and my parents, with their traditional values, didn't have many ambitions for her. I think all I wanted for their daughter was a good marriage that would preferably help the family affairs. Then stops talking, his eyes far away. I'm lost for words. Finally breaks the silence before it becomes awkward. Well, that's it. Now you know everything. Tell me more about yourself. Tell me about you. What's your life like? What do you want me to tell you? I don't know. What do you do with your days? Do you have ambitions? I feel him closing up like an oyster, but meaning to gives a hit a sore spot. I'd like to be able to tell you of an exciting and fulfilling life, but I'm afraid I'm just a lazy rich kid. I fell at everything I try, and it's not that I lack the capabilities. I just don't apply myself enough. Quite all, and that's probably worse. Let him continue. I tried to get into med school, but I didn't pass the exam. Tried law school, but I'm not as brilliant as my sister. I wanted to play the piano than to paint, but I had to face the fact I haven't got an artistic bone in my body. In fact, the only thing with any meaning in my life is my sister and my little nephew Pierre. I don't know what I'd do without them. And then, I met you. Now it's a total cliche and kind of soppy, and I hope you're not going to make tracks. And I think that, for once, I'd like to go a bit further than just fooling around. Let's not go too fast. Listen, I'd be lying if I told you I've heard nothing, but I have things to sort out before I'm 100% available. I understand. It's your guy, of course. Plenty of time. Solitary has always been a kind of hazy concept for me, and I'm not a jealous guy. Don't get smart. Is it me or does bringing up your carpenter make you impervious to my fascinating sense of humor? Stanislas really could do with a slap when he acts like this, but I can't refrain from smiling. Well, there it is. That's my life, broadly speaking. I don't do much for my time, to be honest. I play video games all day. Wait, that's me. I know I'm telling you all this. Guess it's not as sexy as you thought. I don't like it. It's never too late to change, you know. Sure. Shall we talk about something else? Okay, I get it. I'll stop bugging you. I think we've covered everything. And I still have something I wanted to talk to you about. I can see in his eyes what kind of subject we're about to discuss. But wouldn't I be putting my chances to reconnect with Frank and Jeopardy by getting involved in that? Spend the night with Dan. You're gonna be naughty, naughty. I think we've talked enough. If he was only waiting for the word from me, he slips his arms around my waist and pulls me against him. Exchange a long kiss, very different from the one I received a couple of weeks earlier at the unveiling. Not realizing exactly how it happened, Stan is half naked and we're in my bedroom. You don't get much sleep that night. In the morning, I'm woken by Stan stroking my cheek gently, a fresh cup of coffee for me in his other hand. I have to go. Thank you for last night. And Stan, stressed, kissed me and left the room. Tell myself it's not a bad way to start the day. Days go by, and still nothing from Yves Maltaire. I must admit, finding out about his plans has left me in a state of permanent apprehension. Try not to worry about it. I mean, really, what's the risk? Even if I decided to accept, in theory, the idea of the supernatural life and inexplicable sense of being untouchable, even from a so-called curse from the Maltaires. Maybe it's a bit presumptuous, but I feel like my family name acts as a kind of lucky charm, protecting me from anything bad. And then there's Stanislas. I must confess I think about him more than I should, but I'm not sure I want to follow up on it. Frank is still in town and won't be back before the end of the month. I don't know what I should do. Should I tell him about the Stan, at the risk of losing him again? And there's the Pertines. I haven't seen them in a while. Sometimes I think of Solène Maltaire. I'm not sure, I've got to figure it out, but I felt there was something going on when I met her at the cocktail party. Perhaps I could call her? Maybe we could see each other again. What should I do? The Bertines are the people, right? The old man and the lady. Oh dear. Yes, the old man and the old lady. Alright, here's the thing. Stan, I don't want to call it now. I don't want to talk about what happened. I want to be loyal with Stan. Stan is the man. The Bertines, I don't know how much they can help me right now. Solène seems like the only option, and I would like to get to know her better. Very curious about her. When I call Solène, she's surprised to hear from me, but she welcomes the idea of having a coffee together. We meet up in the afternoon in a small tea room with a terrace that looks out on the Tweefield Square. Solène is waiting for me, cup in hand, watching her son who plays with the other children in the playground next to the terrace. The reason for the choice of this tea room is suddenly clear, considering the strategic location it represents for the young mothers of the village. Since my miscarriage, I avoid these kinds of places like the plague. They tend to dredge up a stew of bad memories. Try to keep my face composed as I sit down with Celine. Guess I don't do a great job since she asks me with a concerned face. Are you alright? Tell her what's wrong, let's be honest. Yes, sorry. This kind of cafe with the playground reminds me of a time in my life that was difficult. Oh, yes, of course, what idiot. I should have known, seeing as you're at De La Tour. What do you mean? Oh. Oh. Is that also what they're telling the place about us? Jesus Christ. Why is that public? I mean, I guess it's obviously, but why is it public information? I mean, obviously, if there's a lot, I mean, why? I just don't like that fact. Okay, I understand, but I just don't like it. You can understand. The De La Tour's always had childbearing issues. There's a hush. Sorry, that was inconsiderate. No, it's nothing. It's me. Don't let myself turn back to the page of my life so easily. I'll never get past it. Think further. But what do you mean about the De La Tour's always had childbearing issues? That's something they say in the village, you know? For the local stories. Seems that De La Tour's, in exchange for being the spiritual leaders of our community, had to pay a kind of tribute. And the tribute was the sacrifice of the firstborn of each generation. My mother only had one child. Did she though? That's why I lost my baby. That will explain why I lost my baby. Just what I say in the village, but if it gives you some solace, then I'm glad. She smiles gently in the sense that she's truly sorry for me. I mean, obviously, she's a mother with a child. I mean, she should understand better than anyone that this is just horrible. Chat for a while. Conversation is frequently interrupted by Pierre Eves, who wants to show us a fascinating stone, to ask for a cookie, or to recount the incredible adventure that just happened to him in the playground's fort. Celine finally cuts to the chase, saying out of nowhere, "So, now that we're through with the niceties, we can go to the real reason you called, don't you think? Fairly sure Stan has told you about my father's plan, and you want to ferret out more information, don't you?" Oh. Uh-oh. Oops. Not how will we become a minefield, we already stepped onto the first mine. Jesus. Alright. You can be really direct. I like it. If this... I kind of want to date you now, because you're very direct. Our conversation has suddenly become a minefield. I need to choose my next words very carefully. Except that she's not wrong. I didn't come for that, but since you're asking, I must admit I'm curious to know more. Ah, I knew it. The De La Tours really are all the same. No, I knew it was so good to be told that you had to have a hidden agenda when you called. He stands up and glaring down at me says, "Don't waste your time. You won't get anything out of me." He takes his arm by the hand and I leave in a haste. As for me, I stay there, dazed and slightly wounded by what's happened. Even if I've no real proof, something tells me that Celine's disproportionate reaction is a result of Eve's determination to undermine me. Pay the bill and go back to the castle. What should I do next? Go to the Bettines. When I knock on the lodge door, Mrs. Bettine answers. "Oh, hello, miss. What brings you here?" Looks as though she's put her knitting aside to greet me. Next to the fire in an armchair, make out the silhouette of Mr. Bettine. Looks at me over his newspaper, the local news, and puffs on his pipe as I enter the room. He nods me a greeting. I was just passing to see how you are. It's been a while since we saw each other. Yes, it has. Time flies. When my husband and I heard about Miss Lemec, we felt terrible for that poor woman. Smells like another Maltaire trick if you're asking me. Doesn't make sense. But... doesn't make sense. Why would the Maltaires want to get rid of a housewife? You mean that you knew her, miss? Well, I wouldn't say I knew her. She was the mother of one of my students and she had... how should I put it? I'd say she had a few opinions about the Delateurs. Miss Bettine turns white. But... excuse me for putting this so bluntly, but... did you curse the woman? Before I have the time to answer, she continues. If I'm wanting to, miss, how could you have known? Did you hear that she what? Should have warned her. Miss Bettine lays his newspaper down on his knees and regards us with a piercing gaze. Come on, Gilbert. You were saying just a couple of days ago that these stories were nothing but stories. If I'd known... you must realize that what we're saying isn't real, Miss Bettine. Curses. Can't make people have accidents just like that. The power of the mind. I'm afraid you're wrong, miss. You don't know the village legends. Tell me about them. I get the feeling there are lots of things I don't know about the village. My family, the Maltaires. About the curse. Tell me what you know about this curse. I can tell you much about this, miss. The Delateurs were known to be miracle makers, but it's been a long time since anything like that has happened. It hasn't been in my lifetime, but in the old days they used to say that your family had a gift. Can you tell me what happened with Miss Lemec? Maybe it will shock my memory? Tell her what happened. Must have been the words you said without realizing. And the wound? That must have been what unleashed the spell. If I'd known, I would have been more careful. It's a shame your grandmother's no longer with us. She would have explained everything to you. Yes, I guess I'd like to have the manual on what not to say or not to kill your neighbors. And yet, I still think that maybe it's a Maltaire trick. That would be pretty twisted, don't you think? Oh, well, nothing would surprise me with those low lives. On the way, Shivat. Saw the Maltaire boys kinda yard the other day, didn't you, Shivat? I hope he wasn't bothering you. Yes, he dropped in to see me. Should expect to see more of him. I think you've misjudged him. I don't think he's started with the same brush as his parents. It's not my place to tell you what you should do, miss, but I'd be careful with that man. Tell me about the tower and the legends. Tell me what you know about the tower and the local legends. What do you want to know precisely? These Maltaire mentioned something about the Sphinx and the Druides. Oh yes, that legend's very well known in the area. I think it's linked to the story of your family. You can see the Sphinx symbol all over the village, and you're the descendant of the family whose job was to protect the tower and its contents. Come on, I'll show you. Miss Bettine puts her coat on, follow her to the tower. She points out the shield with the coat of arms of the family carved into the outer wall. See? And clearly make out the tower surrounded by two sphinxes. We turn without speaking to the lodge. The Sphinx has nothing to do with Egypt. Looks like more one of the Greek mythology, doesn't it? The Sphinx that protected Phoebus, the one who asked Oedipus the riddles, I suppose. Well, miss, I can't say. A few years ago, Sherrod and I were watching a documentary about Egypt on the TV. We said to ourselves, that looks like the statue in the village. You remember, Sherrod? Mr. Patin mutters something unintelligible without glancing up from his newspaper. Okay, that explains his things. What about the Tuitas? Oh well, that must have something to do with the stories about the tower, but I'm not sure I know much more. Tell me what you know. What I say is that the region is magical. It used to be a place of pilgrimage in the old days. People came to be healed, or to join the festivities for the passing of the seasons. I can't tell you why, but the legends say that the ancestors used to perform miracles. My ancestors? The Delatours? Yes, the Delatours. This was before they built the tower. I don't know why they were called back then. Also, the family had the duty to protect the village. The place was magical, it attracted demons, and there were rituals to be performed so that the source of power wasn't polluted by these evil spirits. When the Christians colonized the country, this region closed in on itself. The villagers built a tower over the source to keep it secret, and the village became a place of remembrance. I didn't know this period. Long before I was born. My grandmother told me the stories of before the Maltese arrived. What have the Maltese got to do with all this? It began with Eve's grandfather, old Gustave Maltaire. When he was a child, the Delatours fostered him at the castle because he had a gift for miracles. He was an orphan from a family of marsh folk. To be fostered like that was very lucky for him, but apparently it wasn't enough. He wanted more. I knew him a little. He was already an old man, but he was a difficult character. I remember he used to give me the creeps when I was a girl. Anyway, since then that the Maltaires began to amass a fortune. That's when the accidents started to happen. If anyone went against the Maltaires, something bad happened to them every time. And then, the Delatours began to wither away. In the end, there was only a grandmother left. And then you came. Didn't you tell me all this before? You came from the city. You didn't know anything about all of this. I told you about the spirits, or the mad forest, or magical sources. What would you have thought? And we thought it was just old stories. We weren't born in the time of the miracles, and we don't know much anyway, my husband and I. About Mrs. Levesque. Tell me more about Miss Levesque. You seem to know her. I wouldn't exactly say know her. Let's say she was the tongue of the village some years back. Really? Why? My husband was a prude, the type who drinks too much, if you see what I mean. There were several incidents. Went on a few years. Beatrice Levesque would never have filed for divorce. And Yves Maltaire was very supportive when her husband disappeared. Disappeared? You mean he died? No, well, I don't know. Just like that, he was never seen again. They say Yves Maltaire drove him out of the village. Beatrice Levesque was sure it was thanks to the Maltaires, and as she worked at the town hall, well, best not to speak ill of Mr. Mayor when she was around. I see. That said, Yves did a good thing there, didn't he? That depends. No one really knows what happened to Levesque, and even so, one good deed doesn't redeem a lifetime of wrongs, does it? That means her son, Jean-Baptiste, is an orphan? Well, yes, but don't worry too much about him. Son took him in. You must know her. She's the wife of the fishmonger, you know, at the market. A really good family. I'm sure they'll take care of him as if it was their own. That's not such a bad thing then. Say goodbye. I have to go. Thanks for answering my questions. So now you know everything. Well, Sherrod, we told her everything, didn't we? Mr. Patin puffs on his pipe, inking the nods in agreement. My wife and I were just the ones. We were never in the know. Your grandmother, she could have told you, warned you. I have to know more. Who else can give me answers? It's only Dora Maltese who might know more, and yet Yves would know for sure, but I'm not sure even his wife or his children are in his confidence. But surely there's somebody else, isn't there? Yes. And as Sophie, your mother, is the last that'll turn to know the secrets. What should I do next? Call Stan? Pick up the phone and call Stan. Thrilled to hear from me and wants to meet up. Perhaps I want to end things with him. Tell him that it was a one-night stand. I could ask him to wait until I find things out with Frank. Then there's a third option. Could see him again. Of course it means lying to Frank. Got an hour off at school this afternoon. I could go to his place. Go see him between classes. I'm gonna be a bad person. I tell him I'll come see him in the afternoon between classes. And think of anything else for the whole morning. I'm bursting with impatience when I take my car to meet him. A great time together. A couple of days later, he's waiting for me at the end of the school day. We meet more and more often. One time we get a room at a small hotel in the village. Another time we take a walk along the river hand in hand. I know it can't last. Sooner or later I have to make a decision. What should I do next? Wait for Yves Maltese. Days go by, then weeks. And Yves Maltese is conspicuous by his absence. I try to concentrate on my classes at school. But after all the revelations, my mind is often elsewhere. And then, Frank is still away, and I must confess I'm not looking forward to breaking the news about Stan to him. I have to say I'm having some difficulty focusing on my work. And to top it all off, the principal told me I was going to be inspected by the local education authority, which adds to the general climate of anxiety. I'm in the forest. The same dream again that one I had last month. I have a sense of deja vu, but something has changed. I want to escape the presence that follows me. Once again, I reach the pool in the clearing. I draw closer to glimpse my reflection. Same image as last time, but it's more precise, almost more real. I'm wearing a black dress. My hair is very long, black and straight. Something dark and powerful seems to emanate from my reflection. I look determined, sure of myself. I like it. Somehow dangerous and provocative. Surprised I find myself thinking it wouldn't take much for me to become the Daphne in the mirror. Such a reflection, and after a moment of darkness, I'm back in the garden. When I come to the statue of the Sphinx, her gaze is different. She looks ahead, with defiance and determination. That's when everything changes. I'm driven by the strength and stability that seems to emanate from the statue. This time, don't let myself fall into the darkness. This time, find the courage to turn around and confront the threat the Sphinx stares, her gaze immovable. That's when I see the beast for the first time. We watch each other for a second, it seems to last forever. Then, the beast hurls itself at me. It's at that moment when its claws are poised to lacerate my belly that I shudder awake. Chapter 5 December. Alright, and that's where we're gonna end it. I'm getting ready to go to the market when I hear a car coming up the lane. Should be Frank. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, have a great one. Bye bye.